Right then, muckers. Ford 8100, we're going to do an oil change today. We'll change the oil, we'll change the filter, fuel filters, and we'll look at the air filter if that needs cleaning or replacing. And I've already run it this morning, and so it's up to temperature, so we can drain that out. A lot of you already know that we sent off a sample to be analysed, and we got the results back. And if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the description to those videos. Actually, no, I won't. Don't be so bloody lazy. Go look back in my video history and you'll find it there. One is about the oil analysis, the sample we took, and one is about the results that we got back. So when I've changed the oil, I'm going to run this for 50 hours. And when that time comes, I'll drop another sample out and send it off, and we'll see if anything's changed from the last sample that we sent away. So we've got a benchmark now, so we'll see what happens. Right, last time as well, I asked you lot out there, if it was a nice Sunday afternoon, you sat down with a nice drink, what sort of movie would you like to put your feet up to and watch? And later on, what I'll do, I'll ask you another question, so that you can answer and put your replies to in the old squid pit below, the old comment section. Right, better get on. This is where it'll normally go everywhere. Guarantee it. It just hits the side of the drum, just on the corner or something like that, or just won't go where it's meant to. And it'll make a massive mess. You know it and I know it, how much of a mess you make. You can't really get a funnel in because that's too high. Not too bad. The whole stuff is thin. Ugh. That is thin. We just have one of those drip trays at the bottom there. They're like, I don't know, 3 or 4 quid. Just catches any splashes or anything like that, so it saves you a bit of trouble clearing up afterwards. Or having to find a shovel full of dirt. You know, the simplest of jobs, just like an oil change, but if you're just prepared, you're taking the time, I'll grab the tray or even a piece of plastic, you know. Right, so we're going to get the filter off. It's upside down, as you can see. You know what's going to happen. Got the filter wrench. Now, this is one of these boa constrictor ones. I got these. I got the ratchet strap type. I got the chain type. I've also got the screwdriver type. You just bang it through and turn it, you know. Anyway, these ones are quite nimble, and I quite like these. They don't tend to slip up and down. The other thing we need, because we know it's going to make a mess down that side once we've got it off, it's a piece of rag. And before somebody said, it's not a piece of rag, it's a piece of blue paper towel.
Oh man, don't hit me with them negative waves so early in the morning.
Once this is off, we can put it in the tray down there as well, so it's always good to have something rather than stand there. What am I going to do with it? It's turning, but it's crushing the bugger. So tight it is. It's coming now. But why people put stuff on like this so bloody tightly, I don't know. You often see people doing them up with a filter wrench. It's crushed it. That's how tight it was on there. Ta-da-da! No spillage, so that was quite lucky. Now, the one that has got the smaller hole, the two, is marked up as a Perkins filter. And before anyone's that retarded that they turn around and go, oh, let's put Perkins in. I'm sure most of you know that the filter manufacturer will make and mark these up for no end of different companies. It's such like, you know, Fleet Guard filters, they're actually Cummins. But a Fleet Guard will match a Ford or a Perkins or whatever. They'll have, you know. So, as long as it's the correct filter, which this one is, as long as it's obviously got the correct hole there to go on there, which it has, job's a good one. Right, so the first thing I want to do, make sure everything's alright, just put a bit of oil on the rubber seal, and that way it won't bind up early and you wouldn't have to crank it on with a filter wrench. Right. You can't pre-fill this obviously because it's upside down. Right, you can feel it just tightening down now. So what you want to do, just tighten by hand. Right, we've just got the sump plug back in. Now, I undid it with a breaker bar, long breaker bar. Doing it back up, let's do it with a short one, because again, you don't want to overstretch everything. Right, so the sump plug is in, and the filter is on. Now, you know, as an agricultural tractor, you can use a good universal farm oil. For this, I'm using 1540, and you know, you've got your SAE spec and everything on the side and whatever. I always go on the mill spec, and it's actually within the safe zone. So there's safe, there's full. So yeah, looking at that, I reckon I'm going to put in 2/3 of a jug and then check again. The other thing is, when you're refilling with oil, you know, rather than try to, you know, not spill out of a big drum or, you know, cut down an old drink bottle or something, for the price of what they are, we run, you know, one for clean, one for engine oil, one for back end oil. So it's just as easy to have a decent pair of jugs and you know, make sure that you look after them, keep them clean. That would be too obvious. I'm not gonna actually go on. Yeah, go on. Okay, now we're just over full. Now that's no bad thing, because don't forget the other side we've got an empty oil filter, and that takes 0.75 of a litre, so under a litre, but that will be about right. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to let that settle, and I'll dip it again before I start it up. But now the other thing about that is the reason I've not done the air filter and, you know, and then gone around to fill up with oil. We drained the oil, replaced the filter, we've refilled the oil. Now, if for any reason I get called away, you know, somebody needs me, or I get an emergency call or something, or I get distracted, somebody turns up, but you don't forget about it, or somebody else doesn't come in the yard, assume that everything's okay, jump in it and fire it up. You'd never do that. It's happened. I always remember years ago, apparently a John Deere dealer had that happen. They drained one out before lunch and went for lunch. Somebody else came back in the yard, tractor was in the shed in the way, and they fired it up and seized it up. So there you go. Right, look at these fuel filters. Wipe these clean. Crap is out of them. And then remove the old rubber rings. Make sure that they got somewhere nice and clean to seat into. It's amazing how many people use the old ones and keep the ones that come and, oh, I'll keep them. You never know, do you? You never know what. Just replace them. There's more chance of this old one splitting and leaking than there is a new one. Some people just think they're saving a bit. I paid £3 for my filter and I got the O-rings and I didn't use them. What a bonus.
And don't get cheap on me.
So you got another O-ring up here on here, so you just replace that as well. You got them, so you might as well do it. And I know a lot of you will be thinking the same as I am. Bloody red filters stand out. Yeah, they do. However, these filters, as I said, I just want to run this for 50 hours. I'd like to see some of the old, remember the old CAV type ones, white and blue ones, they always looked good. Just give it a two, just backwards and forwards.
Rocket fire! Rocket!
Just crack those at the top here. you can crack just one goes to the other, but it's just easier just to do the two. So you've got the lift pump on the side here, and when you're doing it manually, you've got a little toggle, remember that, and then when the engine's running, you've got the little tongue at the back on the cam, which then actually does it automatically, or mechanically, we'll say. If you've got a supply of fuel, clean fuel handy, you can actually fill them up just to make things a lot quicker. I haven't got one here, I haven't got any fuel with me here, so I'm just doing it like this, and it doesn't take long. There we are, there's fuel coming out of there now. Right, there we go. Oops. We've got ourselves a squirter. Now, we just clean all the excess fuel off that we've pumped out and sprayed everywhere. All up the top here. Then we can see any of those rubber seals on here, top and bottom, are leaking. Right, we'll see what happens. Just put it up around here. She'll probably fire up and stop, and then we'll just bleed her out a little bit more and she'll fire up and stop, and if we need to we can bleed her out at the pump here.
Far out.
Right, well that was good. Fired straight up. We just have a little dab round and just see if we've got any signs of fuel leaking. So that's good. So we've done the oil, we've done the filters, we've done the fuel filters. Anything we've got to look at now is the air filter. So let's get that off. A bit mucky, but I think for this time round I'll just blow that out, the compressor. It's not clogged. There wasn't that much dust in it at all, it's good.
The people keep saying, you want to get yourself a straight pipe like George. We all know George loves a straight pipe. He keeps telling me, Muck, I'm going to get you a straight pipe on there. Yeah, good luck with that, George. Right, well I'll go to the other yard and just take all the old oil cans and paper and stuff like that away and dispose of that. Make sure that's all clear and clean, and then we'll come back, check the oil and fire up again.
Saunders!
Where is my pin exhaust?
Right, so since the last video, had a load of you contact me, both here on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, the 08 one's a popular sort of tractor, people love that whole thing, and they're sort of saying, you know, oh, what you want to do is you want to do the seat up, and you want to do,
Whoa there, Dick, put the brakes on.
Yeah, I know, and I've already done the base of the seat, that's all done. The upholstery, we were right at the point of getting that done when this whole current situation kicked off. But I've sourced the exact pattern material for that seat, and I've got a guy who does classic car upholstery, that's what he does. So yeah, we will do that. The other thing I've had is people contact me and saying, oh, what you want to do is you want to put some CB aerials on that, or you want to put some flashing lights on it, or a stainless pipe. And you know, and you can put this sort of sun strip on it, and you can.
Gotta bring shit at a time.
Look, there's a way you can, you know, do things with a tractor, and yeah, it's practical and it looks good. Or you can go to the other extreme and it just looks trashy. In fact, there's a formula for that. Let me explain. Right, so we'll have a look at this formula. So, each of them has a value. So, flashing light, CB aerial, sun strip, flashing LEDs, a nameplate, you know, your name on, or your CB handle, and a stainless pipe. They've all got a value in a code letter. You've got an N or an A or R or something like that. And you can have up to a combination of any three. So let's just take this. Let's say a flashing light, you've got an N plus, let's go for a sun strip, like an old Grassman strip. Give Gareth a little plug there. Right, so E, and let's go for a nameplate plus W. There's your 3 and you're allowed that, so equals your 3, okay? Or let's go another combination. Let's go sun strip E plus flashing LEDs plus A plus flashing light again plus N equals your 3, and that's absolutely fine. That's acceptable, you know, in daily society, anywhere on any farm or whatever, and everything's good. So that's all fine. But if you're going to have all of these on one tractor, that's where you've gone above your limit of 3. So for example, if you've got, I don't know, let's go flashing LEDs, and you've got a flashing light, stainless pipe, you're going to have a nameplate, you're then going to have, let's just say, sun strip, and I don't know, let's go for the CB aerial. If you've got all of those, that's what you got.
That's pretty much the point, sir. Not much gray area in this.
So no, I'm not going to load the 8-1 up with them all. Right, let's go on to the old comments. So on the last video, I asked you a question. If you sat down on a Sunday afternoon with your favourite drink in hand, what would you want to see up on the old screen? What movie? And yeah, got some great answers back, and the stuff I'd like to see as well, funnily enough. So you had things like The Great Escape, Cannonball Run, Convoy, Smokey and the Bandit, obviously, Shawshank Redemption. And a lot of people were saying they'd like to see the old John Wayne movies. For some of the younger viewers, you might have to look up who John Wayne was. But back in the day, he was a massive movie star, westerns and war films and stuff. And it's nice to know that people are still watching that sort of stuff. The picture I'm getting is that we are, roughly all of alike. We're all sort of pretty similar in our sort of tastes and outlooks. There's variety there, don't get me wrong, but I'm sort of getting an idea. So we've done that. We've done all the, your worst car you've ever had, your worst truck or whatever, right? Now here's something that's actually, because that's easy to say that was a heap. Here's one that's a little bit more difficult. What's the best car or truck that you've owned up till now? What is the best one you've had, and why? It doesn't have to be some big fancy pants, bloody all singing, all dancing sports car or pickup truck. It can just be that simple little old runabout that when you had, next to no money and you just needed to get to work to get ahead, that was the car that never let you down. Or it might be a truck that you've, had since you were a youngster and you've put all your heart and soul into it and you've still got it, or you regret selling it now, but, it was a good vehicle because you spent so much time on it. So what was your favourite car or truck that you've owned? So put your own answers, same old thing, down below in the old comment section, the old squid pit, and we'll have a look at that and see what you buggers come up with. Right then, muckers, so there we are until the next one, when no doubt we'll be doing something different. But until then, just stay safe and look after yourselves, and keep polishing your pipe. Which reminds me, I better go and find where my bugger is. Do well.